Welcome to the Provider Mentor podcast. Today, I'm excited to have a co-host, Michael Clark, the athletic koala himself, and we're going to be interviewing Valentina Coin from Viya Technology as she walks us through systems and technologies and how you can integrate these into your NDIS business. I'm excited to bring you this, and if you get any kind of value from this at all, please, I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and if you'd like a copy of my Provider Accelerator Masterclass, please go ahead, leave a message below, and I'll shoot that straight over to you. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the pod. I wanted to thank you so much for joining us, Valentina and Michael. I wanted to also just congratulate you on your part and as a co-author inside the inside the Future Proofing Your NDIS business book. And I'd love to hear a little bit about your story and what that felt like from writing the book to actually book signing and everything that followed.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Greg, and nice to have you here as well, Michael. What a pleasure to be having a conversation with another co-author. That's exciting.
Thank you.
I think you'll find probably similar to yourself, Greg. For me, having to distill in a certain amount of pages and a certain amount of characters all of the hard-won lessons and make them both strategic and practical and real for providers out there who are doing incredible work, it really challenged me. It really challenged me, but in the best way possible. And probably the most fun part of it was recording the audiobook. That was my favorite part of all. Funny story, I actually booked a recording studio because I wanted the recording conditions to be perfect, right? And then there were some roadworks going on and it just did not work out. Even in the recording studio, you could still hear them. So home I drive, texting my friends, what am I going to do about it? And one of my friends says, I used to be a book reader in a previous job. Go to your closet, put as many clothes as you can in your closet, shut the door and record it there. And that's what I did. And it's perfect.
Yeah. That's amazing. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about it as well is it was really challenging to fit everything into just a small chapter, but I think it really distilled everything for the people, and like the response that I've had from people is that there was just so much value in a short chapter, and it was exciting.
Yes. I've had someone say us the best thing that I've heard a couple of weeks ago when we did the live event and the signing. Someone came and said to me that your chapter would have saved me 12 months. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry it didn't yet, but for how many other providers it will do that. And that's exciting.
That's really cool. So a lot of people listening to this going, this is awesome. She's going to save us 12 months. But in what? Okay. So help us understand, what is it you actually do? You run Viya Technology. And what is it that you equip businesses with? How do the people listening know that it is for them what you actually do?
Yeah, great question. So what my team and I do at Viya is we are a team of technology experts. And what we do is we systemize businesses. We support organizations in their digital transformation journey, which really means, first of all, designing strategic business systems that help them run their business better and easier, all the way from optimizing their operations and efficiency to finding and implementing the best CRM or ERP software to support their operation. And the key is really to treat it as a system. The business is a system, which doesn't only mean technology, but it means how can we create a set of systems comprised of people, process, and technology working together to achieve the business's goal and make the day-to-day smoother and more sustainable.
Okay, got it. So I guess awesome. So when people engage you, what it means is they're going to have systems that work, computer software that makes sense. It's not haphazard there because we've always done it that way. And it's going to save them money and staff time. Is that why people book you, or is it something different?
That's correct. No, that's spot on. And they're also going to have people, systems, and processes. So those are the three sides of our methodology, and it's a pretty well-known framework. It's not something we invented. People, process, and technology, which means that on a process level, For example, you need to have clarity over how your business operates, how every portion of the business function, what makes it tick, how do we get visibility, what each team is responsible for. On the people side, it's all about aligning the different teams and making sure they have ownership over the journey that they're about to go through. And then the technology at that point, once we've got those two elements nailed down, the technology really becomes easy.
And it's a really a done with you approach, or is it a done for you approach? How do you guys approach that?
A bit of column A and a bit of column B.
Okay.
We can definitely provide the manpower to speed up and facilitate some parts of the journey, but I am a very, very firm believer in the done for you simply does not work. It needs to be done with. Again, because of that accountability and ownership and having the team embrace the process as their own. If we do that at every step in partnership with the teams, then we don't need to do change management once the system is implemented. So done with you.
I love the done with you approach. I'm a big advocate for it, especially in this sector, because there's so much skill sets that we have to learn as entrepreneurs. So just having that base is fantastic. So I'd love to learn a little bit about, I'm a big advocate on your why and Simon Sinek and all that sort of stuff. I'd love to learn a little bit about your why and why you got into the technology field and why you chose the disability sector as a whole.
Yeah, it's a great question. So going back in time, I've always loved systems and how people interact with systems, whatever the system may be. The system could be nothing to do with the technology, but how a human being interacts with that system and is either part of it or resisting to it. That's always fascinated me. And my background, I was back in Italy. And also when I moved over to Australia, I was very much in the hospitality sector. And right up until the point where I was managing a chain of restaurants, hotels, bakeries up in Noosa on the beautiful Sunshine Coast. And then I really needed a change and decided, right, I'm going to join a startup. I'm going to work with computer. This is going to be amazing. And I'm not going to have to talk to any of the people because I am tired of people. And then joining the startup was an amazing experience. But as soon as the techies realized that I could talk to people, they said, here, you go and talk to our customers so we don't have to. And so that was the next part of the journey. And that's probably where the why for Viya Technology really came to life, which is where I saw really good teams and led by really, really well-intentioned leaders. I saw teams burning out, and I saw well-intentioned leaders purchase great software. So great team, great leader, great software, hoping that it would be that silver bullet and really help their organization come out of the weeds. But they were missing out on the people in the process, hoping that technology would uplift the organization. And it was everybody was so well-intentioned, and yet something was missing from those projects. And naturally, on the vendor side, it wasn't my role to go and take a look at the operational efficiency and the business goals of that particular business. So that's why I stepped out and started the advisory. So that's my why for what I do today. And as far as the industry, the care industry, it's such a perfect storm of circumstances. It's still a very young industry. It has high complexity. It has high regulation and high compliance. And the workforce focus, as it should be, is on caring for the individuals. They don't want to deal with technology that just doesn't work. And so it was just a perfect fit for the skill set that I had to come right in and make things better.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes heaps of sense. Well, welcome to the hardest industry on the planet to work in, and one of the most important ones.
Exactly.
I guess what goes through, what I'm thinking, like I know in the book you talk about humanity and systems and people first. Mm-hmm. You've got this great tech. Every business has the option of using great tech. There's so much software that does our work for us. And then you've got people who They like doing it their way. They've always done it their way. How do you deal with that when you come into a business and you've got tech that is unbeatably good and people who are unbeatably slow to pick up on it and want to comply?
To me, Michael, it starts with curiosity. That's one of our keywords. It's sticking on the wall right there. Curiosity is the starting point. Why are people doing what they do and the way they do it? What is driving them? What's the psychology behind it? Because if someone is not accepting a piece of technology and they prefer to do it their way, I always assume there's a good reason for that. There is something there that the technology is not offering them, is not supporting them with. However big or however small, however it's in someone's mind or it's a real practical gap, something's there. So I first start there.
What's the block? The blockage is either in their head or it is a feature that's not in this new technology. Got it. Okay.
Yes. And we don't know until we go and take a look. And to me, that's why it all starts with curiosity. I always assume there's a good reason why someone's not adopting technology. And as soon as we find that reason and either shift their mindset or find the gap and close the gap or whatever that solution may be, to me, it always starts from asking the people why, because there must be a good reason. That's usually what I intend when I talk about people first in systems. Now, in practice, what does that look like? For example, it looks like when we go out and look for a new software. Let's assume we are an organization who's looking for a new CRM because our current one doesn't work. One of the most common things is, well, we have the list of things that we don't like about our current software, right? But do we also have a list of things that we do like and we don't want to lose? Let's make sure we have that too. Are we only consulting leadership and middle management? Or are we also going down and talking to the team leader and the team member on the ground? Because it needs to serve all of those cohorts. So how can we be curious and engage with each one of them and ask them what's working, what's not, and what would make the biggest difference? Because no software is perfect. No software can do everything. And yet there are so many good software in the hands of really good teams. And there's just a 20% mismatch. If only we could align it, everybody would be happy.
That makes sense. So right from the start, you're getting people's buy-in. You're finding out what are the real problems. And you're demonstrating, here is what you told us were the problems. Here's the solution to those problems. I can see how that would make it easier later. What are you thinking, Greg?
Amazing. Yeah, really on point. And on that subject of figuring out whether it's working or not within the system, do you guys have a way of measuring that process of saying, okay, yes, this is working, maybe it's not working?
Look, I would say we approach it from two angles there. The first one is the one that's on the table, and the other one is more of an under the table. It just sort of happens in the background. So what we do in practice is with every organization we work with, we run what we call a North Star workshop. So we decide what's the North Star. This is, again, before anything happens, before we even start talking technology. What are we driving towards? Where is the business going? What are the elements that we need to see in order to know that we are on the right track? So, for example, an organization might want more efficiency. That is what they might desire. And we're going to make certain choices in the process, people, and technology areas to serve ultimately efficiency. So saving time, saving money. Another organization over here might have already really good efficiency and really look at going to the next step and improving the experience they are providing to their customer or to their staff or to their suppliers or anybody that's in the ecosystem. And they might really be at that point where they really want the experience to feel premium and anybody should be cared for individually. We're going to make very different choices in the tech, very different choices from a strategy perspective, very different choices from a budget perspective. If we don't start from the North Star and understand what are we going for, we can't do anything. And that's what's that's what we put on the table. That's apparent. So we do a workshop at the beginning, checkpoints throughout the 1 or 2 years of the project. And then right at the end, we go, okay, 2 years ago, we said this was the goal, or 1 year ago, however long that was. Are we there? But we don't only check at the end, we check throughout. Are we on course? Are we off course? And that's, I'd say, the surface level answer. The underneath the surface answer that I can give you is, we all want better culture in our businesses. But what is better culture? How do we get there? And in our opinion, if we design systems intentionally and systems drive human behavior, then human behavior over time will keep shaping culture. So my unofficial measure for success is when I check in with a client 6 months, 12 months after we've finished working together, and I go, hey, how's everything going? And they tell me, the day-to-day is so easy. And we're now looking at acquiring a new business, or, this person who was the operations manager, she is now doing this and this and that, and we're doing this new initiative. It simply opens up, because the day-to-day is taken care of, it opens up someone's opportunity to do more, serve more, be more. And that's very hard to quantify. That's why we do the North Star exercise. But that's what I truly want to see.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes heaps of sense. Well, that actually raises another question. So Greg's a provider. I used to be a provider. When providers start out, they start out with zero customers, zero clients, zero participants, whatever you want to call people, and a pen and a piece of paper, and they start making phone calls, and there's your first 5 participants done. Now, that's not very scalable. And then later down the track, you realize, oh, we got 50 participants and we're using, I don't know, Excel spreadsheets or something equally disastrous, right? So the process of going from a pen and piece of paper to something dodgy like an Excel spreadsheet to genuine software, like you were talking before, CRM, customer relationship management software, it's a heck of a process. It doesn't happen just like that. And there's a lot of sort of, until it becomes so painful to keep using pen and paper, we're going to keep doing it this silly way. I mean, what do you see as the big mistakes people make along the way? Is it that they're not moving fast enough? Is it that they're trying to move too fast? Like, what are the mistakes as people digitize their work?
So much out of what you said, Michael, is so insightful. So I'm going to pick on some of the words that you chose. We don't change until it becomes so hard and we stretch our system so much that we just can't use it anymore, right? So we use pen and paper until we just can't do it anymore. That to me is one of the biggest mistakes. So if we accept, I'll give a 2-part answer again. I believe as business owners, we need to accept that outgrowing our systems is part of the journey. If we accept that it's like a child. They'll wear a size 3, then a size 4, then a size 6 sock. You don't expect them to wear the same shoes or the same socks forever. You know they're going to outgrow them, right? And so a lot of the time, we believe we should hold on to our systems as long as possible. And then it becomes almost like too hard to change, because we end up in, we've always done it this way. We have so much data. How could we possibly move it from one platform to another? So that, I would say, is one of the biggest mistakes. If we instead take the proactive approach and say, all right, I know I'm going to outgrow my systems. I'm going to put myself in the best possible situation to do that the least times as possible. And the way we recommend to do that is put on your business hat if you're a business leader, and imagine your business 3 years from now, which as a startup, I know is extremely hard to do, but try to think long term. Where am I going to be in 3 years? And what systems do I need to support me there? And try to build something that can take you there. So we don't build something for this year, for the next 12 months. We choose something that's going to support us at least 3 years in the future. The other really important angle that I want to make sure we cover is the tool almost doesn't matter. What matters is that we have one source of truth. If that's a spreadsheet because we just started out and we maybe don't even have those 5 clients that you mentioned, Michael, maybe your spreadsheet is the right tool, because we're starting a new business. We're going to have so much to learn in all areas of running a business, getting clients, marketing, onboarding, compliance, financial software. We're going to have so much to learn. We just don't want to put a complicated software on top of it. We don't want to overdo it. So choosing a system which is comprised of technology, people, and process that is suited to my size, plus 3 years in the future, and that gets me as close as possible to one source of truth, is the very non-precise, maybe very boring, but it's the only answer that I can give to this question. That's the way to do it.
I get that. Like, Greg, what's going through your head? For me, I'm like, every time I try and imagine what my business will look like in 3 years, I just imagine something too huge to deal with. So I end up just stuck in the day-to-day. Like, what do you find, Greg? You coach so many people. What are you saying?
I mean, there's so many unknowns, but I mean, the first thing we do inside the momentum intensive that I do with Paul Bryan is the plan, and that plan is going to change over time, 100%. You can plan, but you're basically planning to fail, and failure is great. I love failure. That's how we learn, and I think we put in a plan, we implement it, and you just do your best. And then when the time comes, we reach out to consultants like yourself, Michael, and yourself, Valentina. On that note, when we're trying to plan financially, it's really difficult to, I guess, try to build that tech stack without going way too expensive. And what are some of the mistakes you've seen, and what is probably the biggest way you could waste all your money when you're trying to build out that initial tech stack?
Look, I think the biggest way to waste money is if we try to chase that shiny object. It's, as I think I said it earlier on, it's very, very tempting to see a shiny new piece of technology that promises so many benefits and jump on board. And there's so much noise in the market right now. We have so many talented marketing professionals that are presenting the platform in the best possible light, as they should. That is their job. And we have so many platforms presenting as, we'll streamline everything and we'll end to end, we'll take care of everything. The reality is, let's understand that no platform is perfect. It is going to have gaps. The best way to avoid wasting money is to make sure the gaps that this platform has matches with the gaps we are happy as an organization to accept, and not, oh, because it has this top feature that I really want, I'm now ignoring these other 7 gaps that are going to create so much more expenditure in my business. And so a really basic assessment of, again, starting from the North Star, what am I trying to achieve? Secondly, what's my business plan? And accepting it will change, and accepting things will shift, and we might make mistakes. That's part of the journey. But what are the core top 3 things this platform needs to do for me? And does the shiny object in front of me actually deliver on those 3? It's having the discipline to slow down so you can speed up later.
I know I personally have tried a whole heap of CRMs, and it was a really frustrating journey for me. Trying to figure out through web design, like everyone told me, go high level. I hated go high level. And some people really, really love it. But I actually found one that not many people use. So have you ever had that experience?
It's not Excel,
Yeah.
I think you also mentioned a really important thing there, Greg, which is you didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that goes beyond just I didn't like it. I would never expect that from you. But I didn't like it means it didn't do what I needed it to do. It was not intuitive to my brain. And ultimately, it made my work harder for me. And again, I start from curiosity. So there is something in there. You said something of value. Why is that true? It's not just I didn't like it. I would encourage providers to listen to that.
It's funny though, because it was a little bit like, I don't know why I don't like it. I just don't, and maybe that's my ADD neurodivergent brain was just like, I cannot process how this is. There was just too much going on, and it was all in one place. So, I found the right one for me. How's your experience been with CRMs and that sort of thing, Michael?
Oh, I'm listening to this and I feel like Greg, so Valentina, Greg's always my twin in most things, right? I tried using Go High Level when I first started, and I hated it as much as you did because I felt like I'm getting this software out of the box that should just work, and it doesn't, and it's intricate, but it says it's not intricate. So I felt frustrated. I'm like, I'll deal with this another day. So I paid for that subscription for 6 months and then threw in the towel. And then I paid someone else to build my high level for me. And suddenly our business, everything was easier, but we also had that consultant with us to build it for what we needed. And then we had him with us to tweak it when it wasn't working, or when, we're like, it's broken. He's like, no, you're broken. Here's how you do it. Oh, okay, got it. So it was having someone hold our hand. So Greg, maybe you'd have loved it. Who would know? But I had to invest a whole heap of money getting an expert to do it for me, because I'm not as intuitive as I wish I was. And it's that thing. And everyone at those early stages is like, but this should just work, and it doesn't. And we've got to look at the skill set of our ops manager or our general manager and be like, they're not software people. They're people. Of course they can't use the tools. What support can we give them? But yeah, Greg, you and I are the same. Oh my goodness. Even hearing the words Go High Level makes me cringe. I'm like, no, please no. Let's not. I hear you.
Yeah.
But you're using it right now, are you, Michael?
Well, that business is now wrapped up. But in my new business, I'm not using it yet because I'm not the scale where I need it, and I'm kicking that can down the road. But when it's time, I've got the guy, and I'll get in touch with him. He lives in England. Go figure. Like, my guy lives in England, okay, and he'll sort it for me. He'll charge me probably $3,000, and I'll never have to think again. And because I've got the relationship with him, I trust him, I know it'll work. So I guess for me, it's like, you see all these pain points. What do you call that sort of pain point where it's like just not working? Like, that's a pain point. What other pain points do you see?
Surface level pain point would be, well, look, the tech is just not working. I particularly pay attention to when we have a high staff turnover in key roles. Now, I know as an industry, there is a lot of staff turnover, but when it happens in the ops manager and in the finance manager seat, that's when I pay particular attention to that being a clear red flags that something's happening that we need to pay attention to. Jobs getting missed, whether that is, missed client onboarding, missed compliance, missed tasks during a job. Those are surface level pain points. And then if I start digging, typically I find that one point of truth is missing. So at a deeper level, it could be a technology problem, but then it more often than not, the problem touches on all three legs of the stool. It's never just it's rarely just a technology problem. Sometimes it is. And when it is, then I ask myself, why is it a technology problem? Is it a true mismatch with the software? Or, as you said in your Go High Level example, Michael, is it a incorrect setup? 80 times out of 100, it's an incorrect setup. So only 20%, it's the good old 80-20 rule. Only about 20%, it's a true tech gap. And when there is that true tech gap, then the way I start reasoning around it and encourage my clients to reason around it is this a critical element that helps us get to the North Star, or is it a nice to have that we can manage in some other way? Because a lot of the time we risk looking at all the little things that don't work and blowing them out of proportion. One of our clients came to us the other week with a part of the system that didn't quite work for them the way we originally set it up. Like, okay, not everything will work out. Let's take a look. And as soon as I started digging, it turns out that this particular part of the process took them about an hour a month, and it earned them about $200 in claimable data. So at that point, for this very small problem, rather than trying to shoehorn it into a piece of tech that's not made for it, I simply told them, just for this one, use an Excel spreadsheet. As much as I don't like Excel spreadsheet, in this case, the cost of trying to shoehorn it in place was just so much bigger than just handle it as an Excel spreadsheet. For $200 a month is simply not worth, not even our time having this conversation, frankly. So it's the discernment of trying to understand what's the surface level problem, what's the deeper problem that's sitting behind it, and is it truly impacting our North Star, or is it not impacting our North Star? Sometimes we try to over automate and I don't think that's an English word, make everything efficient just because it should be efficient. Well, should it? In my business, sometimes I choose things that are inefficient, like sending in individualized video messages to my clients. That's so not automated and so not efficient, but it is in service of my North Star.
But that's that human element as well that you always come back to. Have
yes,
you
being discerning about where it fits. Sorry, go ahead, Greg. I'm getting
yeah, no, you're right.
here.
Have you seen any tools or anything within the space that is really kind of underrated? Any tools, any systems that kind of are understated and underrated that really have quite a large impact on an NDIS provider?
I think one of them, I'll give you two.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a specific tool, but it is the idea of a tool. So the two things that are on my mind is dashboards and knowledge management. Dashboards, because it's not sexy, right? Dashboards, data, graphs, and then we need to make sure that all the processes and our people are following the right steps so that the data flows in the dashboard, all the technical aspects of setting up a dashboard. But once you have a command center for your entire business, you see the numbers that matter, and you can spot trends ahead of time. And this is where AI can be so powerful. That there's quite a few AI tools these days that go well beyond just a dashboard with pretty graph or a Power BI, and actually gives you interpretive, qualitative data and insights on, oh, this trend is happening. You might want to watch out for this particular house expenditure of equipment or consumables. That, to me, affords the leadership team, and also at a lower level, each of the team leader or managers, the ability to truly look at that long term and have all of our business in front of us like a game board and play the game instead of being reactive. And the second one that I mentioned is knowledge management. Now, again, not super sexy, not super exciting. This isn't about creating processes and documentation and SOPs that are going to chain us and force us to do the same thing the same way. This is about not creating siloed in our operations between the different teams, transparency of information flow, and clarity. So when I need to onboard a new team member, if I have documented what that role looks like, what are the KPIs, what are the processes, what are the key steps that someone is accountable for, and how to, for example, if it's a care role, how to deliver that care, how to support that particular individual, that is invaluable. It's not sexy, but it's invaluable.
Wow, that makes sense. And Greg, I'd ask you the same question. Because
Yes.
I just learned so much there. What you're describing about a dashboard, it just a small bit of time now to set it up, make sure that it's fed the right data at the right points in time so lady can see patterns and trends and get warning signals. I'm just sitting there going, I don't have a dashboard. I need to sort that. Good work. Okay, thank you for that business coaching. Greg, what is a bit of what is an underrated piece of software that you use?
Well, at the moment, I'm using something called Flowloo. It's a CRM. There's obviously bits of it I would love to add to it, but for me, it has just been so underrated. It's like kind of got Slack into it. Like it's just kind of, it's got everything I need, and it's very easy. That's the software that I use inside of my web design business, and I think a lot of people actually haven't heard of it. It's super cheap. And it really ticks all the boxes. The one thing I would love it to have is voice notes, because I'd love to be able to do voice notes inside of my and that's actually another point for systems when I'm doing my mentorship and everything like that. Rather than doing these one-on-one lengthy like hour-long sessions, my mentorship is me hitting voice message when they need me. And I think that's actually a really underrated system for everybody, is just being able to voice message people and have that human connection rather than texting, because so much gets lost in translation with text and content. You know, some people are like, oh, that person's angry at me, but really they might have just been really quick in a situation where it was where they couldn't communicate, you know, the way verbally that we kind of absorb as well.
I love that. You're listening to your people and what they are asking you for, and also what works for you as a human, putting it together and plugging it to the business. Amazing. What about you, Michael?
Yeah, I think what you just showed there with Greg's great, because Greg, I love it too, because it's so quick and easy for you to send a voice note. For me, the most underrated tool that I use is Loom. It just captures a video of my screen and a small thing of me talking.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
a lot of my clients get stuck at little things that you and I and Valentina might be like, how are they stuck there? But instead of getting stuck there, they've just got a 40-second video of me going, here's what buttons you press, here's how you solve it, let me know if I can be helpful. And because I send those Loom videos within an hour of someone saying, hey, I've got a problem, they feel like, wow, Michael really cared. And I did care, but it only took me 2 minutes. And it was a combination of the right software that captures my screen, but also the speed with which I send it through to them. So yeah, that's valuable. The other thing is LinkedIn messaging. Like if someone's got an issue and I'm on LinkedIn, I'll send that to them because I know it comes up on their mobile straight away. And people would much rather click on LinkedIn than click on an email where they go, oh, I'm going to be down a rabbit hole. So that would be another one. Hey, can I ask you a question, Valentina, a bit more of a personal one? Okay,
sure, go for it.
Great. All three of us have undertaken big gambles on, I think this will work, I'll give it my all. Or I don't know how this will go, but I'll give it a crack. You know, I'll put 10 grand in, or I'll put 30 grand in, or whatever, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Because you have that gut feel and you know that the probability is on your side for the risk versus reward. Okay. What's the time that you've given it a crack in your business? Because the goal here is that everyone listening will not just know what tech to use. They'll have the mindset of how do you be an entrepreneur? What's the time that you've gone, right, the risk reward ratio is in my favor. I'm going to wholeheartedly give something a shot here that the old me wouldn't have done.
Honestly, the time when I stepped away from the hospitality life that I had, that identity, and went into tech, like jumped in feet first. You know, I'm very lucky that my husband and business partner is in the tech space, but we never worked together before. And so that was another very big gamble that we took. And quite frankly, I don't know that I had the risk truly nailed down that time, to be quite honest with you, Michael. I think I might have underestimated it.
Or there was risk?
There was.
Okay.
And I believe I underestimated it greatly.
What was the risk? What would have happened in the long term of your life had it not worked out?
Oh, look, from a professional perspective, I could have tried this new role in the startup and went, all right, I actually don't like working with computers. I don't like working with tech guys. This is not a fit. Let me go and find another job. That wouldn't have been a big risk. But going to work in the same company as my life partner, that was, I realized in hindsight, a very big risk. Because, yeah, we spent a lot of time together and the lines to a degree, and I'm sure a lot of listeners to the podcast would be running their business with either a dear friend or a spouse. So this is not only about romantic relationship, this is about any relationship between two human beings. It is extremely important, and I've learned it the hard way, to really have clarity over one's roles. That was the risk that I underestimated at that first time. I probably had a lot less emotional intelligence skills, a lot less business skills, a lot less strategic skills. So the second time around, when I started Viya and then my partner joined me in Viya, first thing we did is we went out to a business lunch with a whiteboard and we designed our org chart on who was going to hold which seat. And at that time, it was literally me, you, right? Who is the best suited person to skills-based to take this role? And And over the following 12 months, having regular catch-up sessions on how the business is progressing. And when a decision was needing to be taken, it was who holds the seat gets to take the decision. The other person, and right now, whoever else we have involved in projects, our advisors, our accountants, our team members, they get a say in this. They get their perspective heard. But ultimately, the owner of the seat takes the decision. And that to me was, unknown to me, one of the boldest professional risks I've ever taken. So the second time around, I analyzed the risks a little bit more and put in plan a place to handle them better.
Wow. Greg, what are you thinking? I mean, you and I both know what it's like to be in business with our wives. What's going through your thoughts, Greg?
Yeah, definitely. Understanding your roles is that big part. And I think, my wife and I, we went to dance school together, and I know I'm the CFO. I handle the finances, the marketing, that sort of thing. She's the artistic director. She handles all that side of thing. And that's what we love to do. So we were very fortunate to be able to have two different passions within that side of the business. But I have seen in the disability sector that sometimes people come in with 3 family members, and that's where it really starts to get tricky. Because three business partners, regardless of their family members, 3 business partners is quite a difficult thing to come to and agree on. And like you said, having that one person to be able to say, okay, I'm going to make the final decision is I think really, really, really important. Just moving over to the subject of AI, big thing. I remember you've spoken about it at the SIL Summit, and there was quite a few people at the SIL Summit really looking into AI, and even myself and Chris Larper and Paul were actually doing something a little bit with an AI, little secret project coming. But I'd love to hear a little bit about where you think AI is in the space. Is it risky? Is it all hype? Is there a heap of opportunity?
All three. All three is the only answer I can give. I love that there are so many new tools being developed, especially I've seen recently a lot of new tools being developed by very intentional business leaders. Like I'm excited to see what's next for you and the tool you're working on. Quite a few others in the space that are either already built or launching right now. I think it is all three at once. Hype, in the sense that there are some players in the industry who, again, it comes back down to marketing. AI is a hot topic right now. Let's not hide from it. And there are some players in the industry that sprinkle AI onto their software, in my opinion, where it is really not doing anything useful, just for the sake of saying we now have AI in our software. And I understand absolutely why, the reason for it, but as you know, I have a very strong opinion over where AI fits and doesn't fit as far as tasks and things that it is good at and not. It is a tool. From our perspective, it is a tool like any other. Yes, it behaves differently. Yes, it has slightly different rules than your normal programming from a coding perspective. But a lot of it, sadly, is hype. And I'll be quite transparent. We are running online webinars. I do run online webinars about AI tools as well, because it's marketing. It attracts attention. But then the key is to go past the hype and really, when we are in front of a tool, analyze, is this tool using AI in the best possible way? Or are we using a hammer? Are we trying to use a hammer to do everything? Where maybe scissors would have been better. Are we trying to break a rope by hammering it until it frays, instead of using a scissor, which is the best tool for that job, just because we want to use the hammer? Threat and opportunity, I think they are also inextricably linked. Of course, we all have heard horror stories about data leaks, and we all have concern about protecting our data when it comes to AI. What I think a lot of businesses are missing is this isn't only about protecting your data from inside your organization so it doesn't leak outside, but this is also within the organization. If you are building an AI tool with a reputable vendor and it is a closed system, it is protected, your data is not going to go anywhere. I see some leaders actually missing the very important step of what levels of internal permission are we going to put into this AI tool so that when my CEO and the exec leadership puts in all of our financial data and all of our incident data, and then at the other end of the spectrum, I'm a team leader and I'm using the same AI tool to run my reporting, I may have access to that data because no one thought about the permissions. And the opportunities, I think they are amazing. This is just like the shift from pen and paper to having a computer in the workplace, and the shift from pre-internet and post-internet. And it's even accelerated even more than what those two big shifts were. So there is massive opportunities to free up humans to spend more time doing what it is that we do best and amplify our impact. And whenever I'm asked, will AI steal my job? My answer is no, it can only make it better. It can only free up your mind of the menial task, of the repetitive tasks, so you can be more strategic, so you can be more forward thinking. And it gets me so excited. So the three things, hype, threat, and opportunity, are so interconnected. You can't have one without the other.
Okay, that makes sense. Can I put my pessimist hat on for a moment? Is that okay?
Do.
Very rare hat. You'll rarely see this on me, will you, Greg? Okay, so Greg and I both help people with their marketing, and something that Greg and I both hit our heads against brick walls with is people using AI to write their website for them. I mean, that's great if you want to sound like the work experience kid and you just want to use the word person-centered as frequently as possible. But if you want people to connect with what you're doing right now, AI is not producing content that's up to scratch. And I see it on LinkedIn as well, because, I love LinkedIn. I see these amazing articles written by a robot. I'm like, I don't want to read something written by a robot. Dead set. I'd rather, I can't think of anything I'd rather not read. So I'm seeing people misuse AI, these powerful tools that would be great for writing their procedures or great for, I don't know, doing that. And then would you use AI, Greg, to write your birthday card? I don't think so. Okay, I don't need a person-centered birthday. So it's like, where are you seeing AI being misused, and how do we learn from that so we can use it properly and not use it poorly, Valentina?
I think that's an excellent example, Michael, as far as it is misused when we give away our thinking to it and expect it to think for us. Now, it's a great tool, for example, to bounce ideas. I very often will open up an AI tool and have my exec meetings and have AI chip in. It's a great tool. I think AI can be a great equalizer, especially in business. Gathering professional advice and business coaching, it's so expensive sometimes, right? And for smaller providers, they now have a tool that can't quite do the job as well as the experts do, but it can take them from zero to a certain level without having to pay for that professional advice. So I think it's a great tool for that. Looking at the pessimist side, I actually think it's a great thing that we are having so many people use AI in that way, because it will only increase the gap between what true content, true value, true strategic thinking looks and feels like and what it doesn't. As you said, Michael, you can spot when something is written by a computer, and we can see it in images generated by AI. Even the layman on the street maybe they can't quite put it into words like a technical person does, but they can perceive something's off with this article or something's off with this post. And so for me, I understand the pessimism. I understand the frustration. To me, it's a dip, and then it's a period in time. And then we will see the emergence of this collective awareness that actually true strategic thinking needs to come from within, from us. Whatever AI feeds us is just a shadow, a reflection. And I'm actually really excited about this.
Well, I hope you're right. That's really cool. Greg, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts?
It is really hard to predict where it's going to go, because there is a world where AI progresses to a point where it's undiscernible from, us as web designers. We don't want to see that, because, you and I, we stand out because we're both previous copywriters in a past lifetime, and we understand that humanizing is really important. But then as people start to build LLMs and start to really put their own intellectual property into something, they're literally cloning themselves and how they write. So you can imagine putting your copywriting head into an LLM, not ChatGPT, but someone who actually knows and learns how to write like you. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes, but I don't see too many robots coming in and actually providing care to the people living with a disability. So that's a good thing. If anything, maybe it will help assist people, maybe getting in and out of beds and that sort of stuff. But I think that human side of things is really, really important. So we're coming to the end. So just the last question I've got for you is with Viya Technology, I'd love to hear a little bit about what you and Dorian have cooked up next. A little birdie told me you guys have something maybe coming that is going to help newer providers and early stage adapters to the disability sector.
100%. Thank you for that, Greg. Yes, we are definitely working on a new idea. No official launch yet. We're now running a pilot for this, and the way we envision it is, we know that no matter the size of a business and no matter the stage of a business, there is some critical systems that a business needs. You need something to take care of your marketing, something to monitor and track your sales, your operations, your finance, and overarching those, a system for your systems that lets you maintain and continue that journey of continuous improvement. So what we're working on is putting together a membership that smaller and medium providers can join, where they get the same framework, the same philosophy and methodology that we apply with our consulting clients, but they get to implement it. It's still a done with you, but maybe slightly more in the hands of the provider, a little bit more in the hands of the provider, where my dream is to be able to give access at a very fractional cost, both in terms of financial cost and time cost, to the brains of experts. And that goes way beyond just the technology. It's just whatever expert a business needs to grow and to systemize, we're going to create a platform for smaller providers to access. And we're very excited about that. And yeah, I'm very curious to see what the final outcome of this pilot is, because I'm seeing some exciting progress already.
That's so good. I'm a huge advocate. Obviously, you guys know I work with small to medium providers, and I can't wait to see that come to market and release. So make sure you hit us both up. We'll definitely be able to help push that out there. So I just want to thank both my co-host Michael and yourself for being on the pod today. This has been so much amazing value. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you for having me, Greg, and thank you, Michael.
Yeah, it's just bewildering that. Do you ever pinch yourself, Greg or Valentina, and go, oh my goodness, I just got to sit with two of the smartest people I know. And the whole time we've been talking, I've been thinking through, what in my business do I need to go and change? And I'll bet everyone listening to this is like coming up with all these ideas. And I think the key encouragement all three of us would have for people would be go and make one change. What's the point of listening to a podcast if you don't implement it? Don't make 20 changes, just make one. See where it gets you, because there's so much that you've shown us, Valentina. Thank you so much.
Likewise.
Thank you so much,
on the same page.
Appreciate it. Take care. Thank
you.
Bye. Now, what brings me joy is knowing I might have provided some value for you today and given you the tools to actually take away and impact change in somebody else's life. Now, I believe that small moments can affect change for someone forever. And maybe for you, change is here today in this video right here, right now. And I'm genuinely so grateful that you made it this far into the content. If you would subscribe, like, or comment, that'd be really helpful for me and my channel. And I give all of this sort of stuff away for free because I understand that you're as passionate about creating impact in other people's lives as I am. And I don't think this sort of stuff should be a secret. So would you like my help? My personal mentorship navigating the disability sector as an entrepreneur and a provider. I've been privileged enough to help hundreds of providers start their NDIS business, attract their ideal participants, grow, and do it all in the right way. So leave a message below. Find me on Facebook. Check out the links in the description. And if you would like a mentor or you would simply like some more information, please reach out to me. My name is Greg Chadwick, and together, let's keep showing up. Let's keep growing, and let's keep building better supports.